Hey everybody. Can you hear me okay? There are very loud crows out here. Now there's a plane. And I want to make sure the broadcast is okay. I want to make sure I'm on the right network too. Is it coming through loud and clear for you guys? Do those hearts mean yes? That's awesome. Yes. Hi Dragonfly. And Martine and Tree Feathers and Lone Vegan. Great. I look like I have a little delay. So I want to make sure it's okay for you, because if it's not, I can restart, because I don't know if I'm on the right network. I have a feeling I'm not on the right network. Hi everybody, Joyful Vegan here. Colleen Patrick-Goudreau is my actual name. I don't know why I said that, because I'm at joyfulvegan.com. And I'm at Joyful Vegan on Twitter and Instagram. And I'm at Colleen Patrick-Goudreau on Facebook. Mostly Joyful Vegan everywhere but Facebook. So I wanted to say hi to everybody. I'm still here in New Jersey and really trying to get some work done for you and connecting with you while I'm out of my hometown, back in my old hometown-ish, kind of. And it's a lovely morning, and it's moving on to noon, so it's almost afternoon here in New Jersey. And I wanted to connect with you before I go about my day. And I think this is a really important topic. I was seeing some people yesterday, and I hear this so much from vegans, and especially new vegans. Someone had said, I don't want to say I'm fully vegan. I don't want to go into a public space and say I'm fully vegan because I want to look better. I want to be thinner, is really what the conversation was about. And if you haven't checked out my YouTube video on the topic of fat shaming, and that includes us fat shaming ourselves, then I think it's important for you to check it out. And I think you'll find some valuable information in there. The topic of weight loss comes up a lot, obviously, because some people who choose to become vegan or try the 30-day vegan challenge do so because they want to lose weight. And one of the things I talk about in my work is that I don't make promises about what's going to happen when you become vegan. I can promise that you are not going to eat any animal products. I can promise that you are not going to consume any animal-based protein or dietary cholesterol or animal-based saturated fat. I can guarantee you those things, and I can guarantee that means you're going to then not be consuming the things that contribute to heart disease and some cancers and diabetes, cardiovascular disease, etc. So I can guarantee you that. And I can say safely that some people who become vegan, upon becoming vegan, do tend to lose weight because there are a number of reasons, and we're going to talk about them in today's broadcast, because they're eating plant foods and not animal foods, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I don't like making promises about what happens when you become vegan, especially when it comes to weight. I think when I see people do that, I think it's really dangerous, because I don't see veganism as a diet, first of all. Second of all, I think there are better reasons to become vegan, which, the main one being that you're living according to your own values of compassion and kindness, and you're not doing something that you wouldn't be able to do yourself. You're not paying for something you wouldn't do yourself. And the health benefits and the weight loss and whatever it is that you experience, anything that you experience from a physiological perspective, I think are all bonuses and byproducts of not consuming animal products. The other reason is I also think it's really irresponsible to make promises to someone who you can't guarantee anything. Of course you can't. There's a huge spectrum of how you eat when you eat vegan, when you become vegan, and when you eliminate meat, dairy, and eggs from your diet and eat only plants. There's a huge spectrum of how to eat. There are a million ways to be vegan, to eat vegan, as there are ways to not, as there are ways to consume animal products. So I think it's really irresponsible to make those promises, because if someone doesn't lose the weight or meet the expectation that you created, then they blame themselves or they blame veganism and they give up, and nobody wins. And animals are still then exploited and hurt and killed, and people are disappointed. I can't see. There you are. Okay. Sorry. I just saw your comments. I just noticed them. I was like, where are the comments? And there they are. So they were under my screen. I didn't see it. Yeah, so there are a number of reasons for becoming vegan, and I don't want to discount anybody who does decide they want to try it for weight loss or for health or to lower their cholesterol or because they think the food will taste good or whatever, why ever, that's not a word, why people are coming to it is not my concern. I want to help people do it joyfully and healthfully and deliciously and sustainably. And when it comes to weight loss, that's certainly one of the things that a lot of people make mistakes about is, of course, we are a culture of diets, and so many people can lose weight. I mean, you can lose weight, like you can do that in any way you want, but that doesn't mean it's the healthiest way, and it doesn't mean it's the most sustainable way. And I really want people to feel empowered, to have the information they need, to then make the choices they want to make. I mean, so with the information I'm going to just give to you on today's broadcast, which is going to be the first of many episodes on weight loss and veganism. Today I'm going to talk about what I think is one of the main reasons that people, one of the main principles of weight loss that I think will sustain you and I think empower you. So if you're just joining us, my name's Colleen Patrick-Goudreau, and you can find me at joyfulvegan.com. If you want to ask other people to join this broadcast, you can swipe down on an Android and swipe right on your iPhone. Thanks for all your hearts. They're so pretty. There's all these different colors. And share this broadcast with other people who you think might want to join. And of course, if you're watching the rebroadcast, welcome, and you can always share that on the rebroadcast. And you can also send hearts. If I talked about this in a bikini, I would have 1,000 views. I don't know about that. That's being a little optimistic about what I'd look like in a bikini. So I'm not really sure. I might have fewer views. So so thanks for joining us. And so one of the things, the main thing I want to talk about, and you saw it in the title, is that eating fewer calories doesn't mean eating less food. And I think it's one of the misconceptions. The reason I can safely say that people who switch from an animal-based, right, meat, dairy, and eggs diet to a plant-based diet and lose weight, one of the main reasons is because of the main principles that we've all heard about in terms of fat, right? So there are more calories in fat than there are in protein and carbohydrates. There are 9 grams of fat there are 9 calories in 1 gram of fat and 4 calories in 1 gram of protein and 4 calories in 1 gram of carbohydrates. That's just fact, right? And so when you get all of that saturated fat and that animal-based fat out of your diet, you're very naturally eating less fat. And in eating less fat, because there are more calories in fat than there are in protein and carbohydrates, you then tend to reduce your calorie consumption, and that means you lose weight, right? Because weight loss is about calorie reduction or calorie expenditure, and this is what we're going to talk about. It means taking in fewer calories or burning more calories. Someone said, I thought the culprit was carbs. Of course, that's one of the misconceptions that's been going around for a long time. And even when you say, I thought the culprit was carbs, I can't answer that question because carbs is a very broad category. There are complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates are in all of the plant foods, in fruits and vegetables and whole grains, and we need those complex carbohydrates. That's absolutely what makes us run. That's the fuel we need. That's what carbohydrates are. There are simple carbohydrates, which are processed foods and simple sugars and that kind of thing, and that's not what we're talking about. So you want carbohydrates. Your body retains water when you eat carbs. There's so many misconceptions about carbohydrates. I'm pro carbohydrates because it's one of the main macronutrients that we need. So we need to get away from this idea that carbs are bad and protein is good, or animal protein is good and carbs are bad. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's not that complicated, and this is what I want to break down for you. Weight loss is actually very simple. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's simple because we're talking about a numbers game. Someone said they went vegan 6 months ago from a lifelong vegetarian. They didn't lose weight. That's okay. Nobody should have guaranteed that you would lose weight. That's why I'm going to talk about the principles of weight loss. Hi everybody, Cow Hugger, New Hampshire here. I'm on the Starch Solution. Someone else said Marie Lee. It's so hard to read these names. I wish they made the names a little bigger because it's a little hard to read. Several people who eat tons of animal fats and no simple carbs get skinny. Yeah. So let's talk about this main principle. So by the way, type Columbus, Ohio, type new. Hi, Columbus, Ohio. McElroy, is that correct? Welcome, and type new if you're here for the first time. Sunlight Yoga, I love your work you do for animals. Thank you. Welcome back. Good to see you. New from Arizona, welcome. Welcome, Chrissy Lacey. Silver Star, welcome. You're new. McElroy, new. Being vegan isn't about being skinny. That's right. That's why I'm talking about this. Keys, Medic, new. Thank you for the subject, Mary Lee. You're welcome. New, great. Lots of new from Texas and new from Columbus, too. Is that like, how would you say that? Tro. And new Cincinnati, Ohio. Not new. Support you in your work. Be happy, too. Thank you. Great. Thanks, everybody. So one of the first things I just want to talk about, like I said, so let's just get that really clear, that when you go from animal-based products, meat, dairy, and eggs, you're eating more fat. You go to plant-based foods, you're eating less fat. You're naturally eating fewer calories. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't get this, like, that you're not going to be eating more calories when you become vegan. I think one of the things I see in people who say, I became vegan and I gained weight, or I didn't lose weight. One of the things I do see when someone gains weight on when they become vegan. And by the way, some people want to gain weight. So these principles apply to gaining weight as well, because we're talking about calories. But I do see, I think some people have a misconception and a fear that they're not going to eat the kinds of foods they love. There's going to be deprivation. They're going to miss out. Certainly when we talk about diets, we use language that has to do with deprivation. I'm looking for my notes here because I have some notes from the 30-day vegan challenge, which I think you could really identify with. And of course I can't find it. Hold on, I want to find it for you. I mean, the words we use around diets is really absolutely about deprivation. And so I think what happens is that some people then become vegan and they see that there's no deprivation, that there's abundance. And of course, again, the spectrum of foods, whole foods, all the way to very heavily processed foods, and they eat more, or they see that there's baked goods and they can eat baked goods and they're not deprived of that. And so they wind up eating more. And so I think that happens too. And I think that's why some people gain weight when they become vegan. And some people just say they just eat pasta, right? So pasta is higher, it's higher in calories versus, a salad. So we always have to gauge where we want our calories to come from, and that's going to come in another episode. I'm going to talk more about that. Literally talking about calories as a budget that you spend any way you want. Doesn't mean you don't have to leave foods out. You don't have to deprive yourself. You don't have to eliminate foods. You can eat anything you want, but within a budget of calories that makes sense for you in terms of the body weight that you want to be and in terms of getting the energy you need and in terms of the sustainability of it as well. One of the things that happens is when people do become vegan and come to me and say, I was vegan, I tried being vegan, or I am vegan, and I feel tired. I feel lethargic. What's going on? One of the things that happens is, again, calories is energy. That's what the word calories means. Calorie means energy. So if we're not getting enough calories, we're not getting enough energy. So what happens, again, because calories, energy, we're getting fewer calories if we're eating the same volume of food from when we switched from animal-based to plant-based, and we look down on our plate and we're like, that's a burger, it's a veggie burger, but it's a burger, and there's sweet potato fries, they're still fries. I'm eating the burger and fries, even though it's vegan, but I'm hungry. Why am I still hungry? Well, it's because you're eating fewer calories, because there are fewer calories in that veggie burger and fewer calories in, well, there's not fewer calories in the French fries, but there are fewer calories in the veggie burger than there are in the meat-based burger. My point is, just because it looks like the same volume doesn't mean obviously it's the same quality, and certainly doesn't mean it's the same number of calories. So my answer, if you're hungry, eat more. If you feel lethargic, eat food. That's where you're going to get your calories from. But the trick is eating the whole foods, whole plant foods, all the whole foods. That's where you're going to get lots of volume in a really healthful way, but without all the calories, right? Because when you think about the main difference between plant foods and animal-based products is what? What is the main difference that animal products do not have that plant foods do? What? What is that main difference? You tell me. You tell me. You tell me. I'm doing all the talking. You tell me. What is the main difference? What is a main component of plant foods that animal products don't have? That's right. That's right. Rododama, it's fiber. It's fiber. It's not fat. So fat is one issue, but there's fat in plant foods too. Good fat. That's fantastic. And of course, there's fat in animal-based products. Cholesterol, it's true, there's no cholesterol in plant foods and there's cholesterol in animal products. That was the right answer. But the answer I was looking for in terms of the point I'm trying to make is that it's fiber. There's no fiber in animal products at all, at all, at all. None. Zero, zip, zilch. None. Okay, the only time there's fiber in an animal product or an animal is when they eat plants. Like, that's it, because fiber exists only in plants. So there are absolutely no, there's absolutely no fiber in animal products. So what does that mean? What does that mean in terms of weight loss? Well, it means, and when you think about fiber, we're talking about no calories in fiber. No calories in fiber, right? And we're talking about very water-rich, water-packed foods, which means they're not calorie dense. So you get huge volume and lots of good fiber, which, by the way, is really important for heart disease, prevention of heart disease. It's really good for prevention of colon cancer and bowel diseases. So fiber is really significant, and most people are not getting enough fiber because they're eating so much meat, dairy, and eggs, and they're not eating enough vegetables and fruits and grains where all the fiber is. And of course, there's soluble and insoluble fiber, and we can talk about that if you want to. But the point is there's no fiber in the animal products, and so people aren't getting enough. So when you're just eating, naturally just eating plant foods and no animal products, you're getting so much fiber. And of course that makes a difference in many ways in our lives, which is a good thing. What it also means in terms of weight loss, it means that we can eat a lot and have more volume because our stomachs then fill up with the water, with the fiber, without all the calories. That's why there's the principle behind eat more and weigh less, because you're eating more to fill up your stomach and you feel full. That's what fiber does for you. That's what the water does for you, right? If your food doesn't shrink when you leave it out forever, it's not a water-based food, right? So think of all the fruits and vegetables. Think of all the things that we can dry, like bananas and fruits that we can dry that shrivel up into little tiny things. It's because all the water has gone out of it when we dry them, and they're really tiny. So when we eat all the water in the whole fresh fruits and vegetables and grains, we're filling up our stomachs. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you guys? Right? I mean, so that's the basic principle, and fiber has a huge amount to do with it. Yeah, so that makes sense. Good. Right? So that's the basic idea. So again, fiber is in only plant foods and not in animal-based products. Period. There's just no way to get around that. And the answer isn't to eat an animal-based diet and then take Metamucil, which, by the way, is just basically the plant, a seed. It's basically psyllium husks. That's what Metamucil is. It's a commercial product of the seed that you could get in the health food store. It's a psyllium husk, and it's a non-soluble fiber, which means it doesn't break down in water, and it just pushes everything through your intestines and pushes everything out. So that's why people who are constipated take Metamucil. Well, if you're eating a plant-based diet, you virtually never have constipation. You don't even have to take Metamucil or anything like that. I mean, you're eating so much soluble and insoluble fiber that everything just pushes through you naturally. Okay, so that makes sense to you guys, and that's one of the reasons. So that's one of the basic principles behind weight loss, and one of the reasons why people who eat plant-based foods tend to have lower body weight and lower body mass index. Great explanation, Colleen. Thank you. Thank you. I forgot who that was. I'm sorry. But good. I want it to make sense. I always say that I don't want you to listen to me. I want this to make sense to you. So what else does that mean? Do you have any questions? And we can talk more about this in another episode. But I wanted just to repeat after me that eating fewer calories doesn't mean eating less food. That's the bottom line. I want the takeaway to be, and I want the takeaway to be that fiber is in plant food and it's not in animal-based products. And there's a million reasons to eat only plants, and one of them has to do with fiber when it comes to weight loss. We want to eat nutrient-dense, low calorie, but nutrient-dense foods. And now when I say low calorie, I don't mean getting those stupid products that are all over the supermarket shelves that say low calorie, low fat. We're talking about naturally lower calorie foods, i.e. plant foods, but especially within the plant kingdoms, there's going to be some that are lower than others, right? So vegetables and fruits are going to be lower than whole grains. That's great. That doesn't mean to eliminate whole grains. It just means if you're trying to lose weight, you want to just really bulk up on all the nutrient-dense plant foods. I'm sorry, I just missed the question that was there, but if you have another one, please ask it. So that's the idea. nutrient dense and low calorie. Is there anything beneficial in meat that you can't get from a vegan diet? The answer is no, AZ Tammy. There's nothing beneficial in meat that you can't get from a vegan diet. One thing that comes up, and I talk about this a lot, is the nutrients we need are plant-based. The reason right now we're getting the nutrients through animals is because the animals eat plants, and that's the bottom line. I want you to remember that. The reason right now we're going through the animals to get to the nutrients, like calcium, like magnesium, like protein, like all of these micronutrients and macronutrients, we're going through the animal to get to the nutrients that the animals eat because they eat plants. The reason there's calcium in cow's milk is because they eat plants, because calcium is a mineral found in the ground and eaten theoretically by cows, but because they're ruminants. But of course, in the production of dairy-based milk, they're not eating plants. Their food is supplemented with calcium. So it doesn't even, they're not even eating plants. They're actually just eating calcium supplements. You could just eat calcium supplements and get your calcium. So why go through an animal and go through all of the violence and go through all the exploitation and the suffering? And why go through all of the necessary saturated fat, lactose, casein, animal-based protein, none of which we need, none of which is helpful. So when we skip the middle animal, we're getting all the nutrients we need. We're getting the vitamins, we're getting the minerals, we're getting the fiber, we're getting the folate, we're getting the phytochemicals and antioxidants, none of which are in meat and animal products at all. Does that make sense? I always look and feel better when I do an Atkins type diet, so I'm torn here. I really just encourage you to really rethink that. I have a very dear friend who was on Atkins many years ago, and he had gout, and he had so many issues that he had to be medicated for his entire life. Because of all of the high animal protein you're getting, which is incredibly detrimental. So I would really encourage you to rethink that. I think what I would say to you is if you're feeling good on an Atkins diet, it's probably because you're not eating a lot of refined carbohydrates. You're not eating a lot of the simple carbohydrates like refined bread, right? So if you go from eating a hot dog with a bun to eating just a hot dog, you're eating fewer calories and you're not eating all the simple carbohydrates from the bread. But if you are just eating, a soy dog and no bread, it's going to be the same thing. But of course, you're not getting all the things that are harmful, and you're getting some good things too, especially because you're getting healthful soy, and because you're also getting fiber from the soy dog as well. So I would, if you feel good on an Atkins diet, try a vegan Atkins version. There are versions of that. I still don't promote in any way or advocate diets at all, and especially those kinds of fad diets where you're restricting yourself. My point is that you do not have to eliminate anything when you're eating vegan. There's nothing you have to eliminate. There might be some foods that you feel better eating and you want to bulk up on those, but there are no foods that you have to eliminate in terms of pleasure, in terms of joy, in terms of weight loss, in terms of feeling good and being healthy. I heard that soy isn't very good for a female diet. Do you have any insight? The answer is that soy is actually very healthful, and the studies out there really do indicate that soy is healthful and absolutely healthful for both men and women and children, or it's neutral. So a lot of the anti-soy myths are just that. They're just myths. And I do have I have a podcast episode on this. You can find my information about that in Food for Thought podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, and you can also find my my vegan point of view videos on it on my YouTube channel. So go there, and there's one called, I think they're basically called Soy is Not Evil. It's also a chapter in the 30-Day Vegan Challenge. I cover soy in the 30-Day Vegan Challenge. So I cover processed foods and I cover soy and really debunk the myths around a lot of these. So I love soy. I eat soy several times a week. I love soy in many forms. I love tofu. I love tempeh. And it has shown to be very protective against cancer such as breast cancer. Explained in the actual studies that show soy conversion to estrogen in men. I talk about that as well. I talk about that too, and so I would rather just go watch the video because it's filled with all that. And someone just sent the Vegan RDs paper on that. There's lots of information out there. It's absolutely not true that there's any concern around men and soy. So I do encourage you to go check that out. Ritus, hi Ritus. Ritus just said he does as well eat, I'm assuming, the soy products that I just mentioned. So does that make sense to everybody? So, in the 30-Day Vegan Challenge, of course, there's lots of recipes, and in a chapter on understanding weight loss, it's called Understanding Weight Loss. It's not a chapter that says lose weight. You may not need to lose weight. The best 3 things to cut out for weight loss. That's a really good question. So I don't think you need to cut anything out. What I really do believe, and we will talk about this when we talk about spending your calories as you would a budget. My point is that you can even have whatever, or Oreo cookies if you want to, just, for treat, right? Even when you want to lose weight, you just need to know that 200 calories in that cookie is 200 calories that you're going to take on. And if you are trying to lose weight in terms of, being aware that 3,500 calories is 1 pound, and you're trying to, be aware of how many calories you take in relative to how many calories you burn, you can even say, I really want that Oreo cookie or that birthday cake because I'm going to a party, but I'm going to walk a couple miles so I can burn that off, or I'm going to not eat, dessert later on because I've just eaten it at this birthday. You don't have to deprive yourself. You don't have to do that. It's about living joyfully, being joyful, enjoying life, enjoying the abundance that we have. But of course, in terms of wanting to feel good and look good, there are things we can do. And it's just being aware, and it's just being more conscious. Walk the dog more. The dog runner says that. Well, there actually are studies that indicate that people who have dogs actually get more exercise, which is not surprising. Because they're walking their dogs. I know that sounds really obvious, but walking a dog or walking a neighbor's dog is a really great way to just burn some extra calories. And we will talk about that as well. I'm going to do a broadcast every day on this topic until we've exhausted it. Okay, so I'm committing to doing a broadcast every day, and I'm going to talk about weight loss every day until we exhaust this as well, or every other day. I'm going to do a broadcast every day, but I am going to exhaust this topic. And again, in the 30-day vegan challenge, there's lots of information on what foods are lower in calories and what exercises burn the most calories. Vegans eat Oreos, you just said. Yes. Well, yes, this vegan does. I don't really eat Oreos very often, but Oreos are vegan. They're crap, but they're vegan, and they're there. So just good to know. But vegans are a very broad bunch. There's no way to say one vegan does one thing and that represents all vegans. There are as many types of vegan people out there as there are types of non-vegan people. So this vegan eats Oreos. I can't speak for all others, but I can only speak for this one. But I don't eat them very often, just to be clear. Doritos are as well, and Twisters. Yeah, there's a lot of junk food out there that's vegan that just happens to be vegan. So that's just helpful for some people to know. Sometimes if you go to the movie theater and you want to get some Twizzlers. Yeah, I said Twisters too, even though the dog runner, you said Twisters. I listened to you and I said Twisters. I meant Twizzlers because you meant Twizzlers. Your favorite kind of vegan, Luga. I'm just going to call you Luga because I didn't see the whole thing. Doritos or Oreos, wow. Yes, so I wouldn't recommend that we base our diet on Doritos and Oreos, but the point is that they are vegan. This vegan also eats Oreos, says Cow Hugger. Yeah, it's helpful. Popcorn and cherry Coke, I'm on board, right? Exactly. I hear that from a lot of people. I think so that means if you became vegan and you know that like Twizzlers and Oreos and cherry Coke are vegan, I don't think that means you're going to like become vegan and eat those every day. I think it means you go, oh, okay, well, that's cool. That means like mentally it just kind of frees you up to not feel that there's deprivation. Does that make sense? I wish I could eat just one yummy vegan treat, but I can't, says Emily. That's true, Emily. I do understand that as well. And I get that. I really, really get that. And there are some things that are sweeter that you can enjoy that maybe you wouldn't feel so enticed to eat the whole thing and then feel bad about, of course, because we don't want anybody feeling bad when they're eating either, because we want people to feel good and joyful and not hurt themselves. So, there are things. I mean, dates are a wonderful treat, and they're really good for you. Lots of fiber and lots of vitamins in dates. If you've never had a medjool date, you've never had nature's candy. And it's one of those things that, like, when I really want something sweet, I might have a date. I might have blueberries in a bowl, but making it feel like candy. Figs, someone just said, same thing. Make it so that you have the experience with it. Because with cookies, right, you sit down, you might have some almond milk with it, and you have your cookies, and you might eat one after another. But you can't eat one dried fruit either as well. Yeah, no, I understand. And so if for you, if you know, if there are people who are dealing with eating disorders and you need to eliminate certain foods, certain products like crap food, then that's fine. I would train your palate to find the satisfaction in things that are healthier for you that you wouldn't feel bad about. And there are a lot of foods like that. And especially, thanks, Rightus, glad you were here. Thanks for joining us. And especially things like fruits. You know, fruits are just so incredibly sweet. I mean, you know, sitting down with a bowl of blueberries can be incredibly enjoyable. And most people, because our palates are covered in the fat and salt of meat and animal products, don't even know the subtle tastes of the subtle flavors of plant foods. So once you start to change your palate and get that coating out of our palates, you really find that you taste the subtleties of foods. And berries rock. They do indeed, Emily. Vegans care about life, not death. Diets are about dying inside, hence diet. Well, that's an interesting way to take that word. That's an interesting, yeah, I'm not a fan of diets, and this is not about changing a diet, the way you eat temporarily. This is about changing the way you look at food, and it's about changing the way you interact with it, and it's about really realizing the abundance and not deprivation. So gut flora can affect cravings. Okay, I can't speak to that. But thank you for sharing that, Emily. So any other questions before I go? Because I have to go, well, actually, yes. And I think it's starting to rain. It's starting to rain on me. But again, I just want to reiterate that eating fewer calories doesn't mean eating less food. And I want you to remember that, and I want you to remember about fiber. I was once told by a doctor that too much fruit is bad for you. Your thoughts? Well, yeah, you can get any piece of information from anyone, especially someone with a white coat with a degree. And if you want to listen to them, that's up to you. Because over here, there's going to be the same person in a white coat and a degree who says that eat as much fruit as possible. So what do you think, right? I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to, is that we look for information that validates what we want, or that tells us what we want to hear to do or not do something. It doesn't mean that people aren't getting misinformation that they do believe because they think that they're the experts and we should believe them and listen to them. But honestly, in terms of information we get, we have to decide what we want to do with it. Nutritionfacts.org really is fantastic, and I really do recommend going there if you have questions about anything specific around nutrition and those kinds of information. And Dr. Greger does talk about fruits and blood sugar and smoothies, and there's lots of good information there. And I do look to Dr. Greger for information, and usually just validates what I already believe and what I already teach. And I'm always really excited about that because it's all about common sense. It's about common sense. I think we obsess a little too much about what we put in our mouths. I think both from a health perspective and an unhealthy perspective, I think we absolutely obsess way too much. And theories and concepts, I really don't believe in. I eat food, I don't eat concepts. That's the bottom line. And when you start getting into this low level, well, it's bad to eat this food with that food, and you can't eat that food too much, and you can only have 2 pieces of fruit a day. That's not what this is about. It's not that complicated, and no other animal obsesses over their food the way we do. And I do have some picky deer, and my cats can be picky, but no other animal does this. We need to just lighten up. Use common sense. If it's a plant food, it's good for you, period. What else can I say? If it's an animal product, someone was hurt in the making of it, and it's hurting you in the consuming of it. That's really the bottom line. Have I ever had a weight problem? I've never had a weight problem, but I am a woman in a culture that values very thin women and who places a high, value on that. And I have dealt with my own body issues, and I still do. I absolutely always deal with, do I look good? I mean, all the stuff that so many of us deal with in this culture. I've never had a weight problem, but I am absolutely aware of my body and how sometimes it's not what I want it to look like. And I do things to make sure that I'm feeling good. And that really does mean eating a whole foods, plant-based diet. I mean, obviously I'm plant-based because I'm vegan. I've been vegan for 17 years, but I mean in terms of eating more nutrient-dense foods and not eating the Oreos and not eating the ice cream or whatever it is. I mean, whatever it is that my thing is, so that I'm not feeling bad, right? And certainly I exercise as well, because again, it's about calorie consumption and it's about calorie expenditure. That's really the bottom line. Cowhugger says, I love your cats. I miss my cats so much. I haven't seen them and I haven't seen their picture. My husband hasn't sent me any pictures, which I'm really disappointed about. The dogs are 90%, my dogs are 90% vegan, says the dog runner, and are healthy. Of course, they are happy and they actually go for the vegan food. I believe that before the non-vegan. Show your cats. I can't because my cats aren't here. I'm not at home right now. I'm in New Jersey because I'm here to help my mother. And I'm originally from New Jersey, but I am not home in California. I wish I were. Leslie Kahn says she has a vegan dog. I do have podcast episodes and vegan point of view episodes on YouTube about vegan dogs and cats. There's one you can find that I just did a month ago or so. So yes, so I am a vegan animal. And I hope that this information helps you be the healthiest vegan animal you can be. Thanks, Emily. My mom's doing well. In fact, I just got a little text from her boyfriend that said she's going to get her hair done. And so I might have to go there a little later, which is fine, because that means I can get some more work done to be able to convey more information to you. So if you ever have any questions, please go over to joyfulvegan.com. You can find me on YouTube. It's Joyful Vegan. I mean, you can find my name, Colleen Patrick-Goudreau, or Joyful Vegan. That's all it is. Subscribe and check out those videos. And thanks, AZ Tammy. Your dog is going vegan. We're transitioning now. Thanks for all you do. Stay dry. I will. Drizzling just a little bit. And at YouTube, you can find me at Joyful Vegan. I'm sorry, at Twitter, you can find me at Joyful Vegan, obviously on Periscope. Share this with others so they join and subscribe to the Periscope channel. I'm going to be doing Periscopes much more regularly. You'd love to hear more about veganic gardening. Okay, noted. Flailing phalanges. I will note that because I can absolutely talk about that. Lone Vegan, thank you. Yeah, and definitely, you know, send an email via joyfulvegan.com. And have a wonderful day yourself. I might even do a cast later, but I'm not sure because I have some dinner plans with a girlfriend, an old high school friend. What time tomorrow? Pauline JV says. I don't know. I'm trying to do it earlier in the morning, but I go for a run and I want to get that done with. And I don't want you to see me before I go for my run, and I don't want you to see me before I shower from my run. I would love if you did a Periscope on recommended books for newbies and stories of animals. Recommended books for newbies, the 30-Day Vegan Challenge. There's no other book I can recommend that does what the 30-Day Vegan Challenge does. So I wrote the book, and so I'm a little biased, but I wrote the book based on, you know, 17 years of experience doing this work, and I absolutely recommend it, and it has guided thousands of people to becoming and staying vegan. When you say stories about animals, do you want more stories on Periscope, you're saying, about animals, or do you want books about stories about animals? Emily, thank you. Check out Gut Bacteria Studies, more pro-plant-based ammunition. Sure, I'll check it out. Thank you for that. And you guys can all find me over at joyfulvegan.com. And happy to see you here. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Both. Okay, both. Sure. Yeah, I got stories. I got stories galore. My book is a lifesaver, Luga. I don't know why I can't say your name. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Thank you for coming. And yeah, thank you guys. Again, you can share this with people, even on the rebroadcast. If you're watching the rebroadcast, if you're still around, you can share the rebroadcast with people. You can invite people to join. Planes. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go and get some work done and eat an Oreo cookie. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to eat an Oreo cookie. Ta-ta, Izzy, Tammy. Ta-ta. Goodbye, Leslie Kahn. I've built a small library on the books you have recommended. I love them all. Thank you. Be happy to. Thank you. I'm always happy to recommend books. I'm a reader, for those of you who know. And go check out my most recent podcast. I did talk about a film that I recommend called White God, and I talk all about it. And the next podcast is going to be on animals and film. So go subscribe to Food for Thought on iTunes and Twitter. I mean, iTunes and Stitcher, sorry. Bye. Have a tail wagging day. Thanks, the dog runner. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye. Slowly saying goodbye. Slowly making my way to turn this off. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Goodbye, Dragonfly and Emily and everybody. Just going to wait for you to go. I don't want to be the last one. Or the first one, I guess. guess I would be the last one if I wait. So, okay. Goodbye. Thanks for your hearts. I really appreciate it. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. I love seeing the numbers go down. It's so cute because you're like all closing your doors. Thanks for the hearts, everybody. Close your door. Thanks. Joyfulvegan.com. That's where you can find me. Thanks, everybody. Good information. Okay, I'm going to leave you. Goodbye.